battle lines were sharply drawn. Senator Kefauver was sticking his head into a beehive of old-line Southern politicians, including Florida's governor.
Fuller Warren and whole congressional delegation of 2 senators here have ganged up on me to try to stop me down here. Of course, the administration tried to stop me in New Hampshire and Nebraska, and now they've really got a gang up down here. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The governor, the 2 senators, all the congressmen.
Well, would you discount that support if they'd supported you?
And of course, all of the...
you disavowed
and
that
of course,
support?
all of our people we made mad with the crime committee down here, the racketeers and gangsters, they've all joined in trying to give me the works too, so I've got a right to talk back and to say what's back of these
Well,
things.
you might name them. I don't know any of them. You're apparently acquainted with them through your work on the committee. I don't know any racketeers or gangsters here.
Well,
and of course, you've been very effective in this poor little Estes attitude. Everybody's picking on him. Poor little fellow, can't hardly get along. But you've done very well by yourself. You have to.
No, I don't say that. I say that I'm a Democrat running on the Democratic Party. I'm going to do my best to see that we get the thing worked out, but I'm not going to pick up my marbles and run out of the party if we don't.
Well, I've been a Democrat for some time myself, and I contributed to a good deal of that legislation that over the past 20 years, I've been the author of a good deal of it, and I've supported most of it. But when you come to something that, in my mind, is completely socialistic, there I draw the line.
What do you mean, you'd leave the party before you would...
Oh, no, that's another one of these innuendos you've been casting
out.
I
never did hear a direct answer.
You would have those innuendos. No, I'm not going to leave the party. I didn't leave it in 1948, and they put it in the platform. I fought it on the floor of the Senate and kept to kill it there, and I led the fight against it. And when I'm nominated president, I don't think they'll have it in the platform, but if they do, I'm going to repudiate it.
The battle lines were sharply...
That's a different thing. Now, you're talking about the FEPC. You did say on the floor of the Senate that it was regimentation, that it was of doubtful constitutionality, and that it would not work, and that any effort to put it into operation would cause widespread difficulty, which would be detrimental to the nation. But you're quoted in an Associated Press dispatch in the Washington Sunday Star of April 6, 1952, of saying, if the Democratic Convention, which nominates me, adopts a platform including a compulsory FEPC plank, that's a compulsory deal sentence plank, I shall wholeheartedly support that platform in its entirety. So unless you were greatly misquoted there, you did think it was unconstitutional and regimentation, but you'd support it if it's put in the platform. It's a very bitter dose, but you will swallow it if you have to.
No, I don't say that.
How many delegates it's going to get you?
With the preliminaries over, the debaters stopped sparring and got down to the record in a wrangle over who voted for what on federal labor legislation.
Better working conditions and their right of collective bargaining.
So have I in those 3 items.
But you voted against for the Case Bill and the Taft-Hartley Law and many others. So that I want to...
many others?
Well, I was just looking over the record here. Wherever I found some labor thing, it seemed like you were voting.
Well, name them.
Well, there's the Smith-Conley Act and the Taft-Hartley Law, and...
you named those, you said many others.
Anyway, that's 3 of the principal ones.
Really
well, you voted against the Full Employment Act. That was for the benefit of labor.
Oh, no, I voted for the Full Employment Act.
Well, it's the record's right here that you voted against the Full Employment Act. I can find it.
Don't look it up. I'll admit it rather than have it.
Well, if you admit it, all right, but I think we ought to get it clear because that's a very important thing. Here it is, 6/25/43, 9/28/45, voted against Full Employment Act, which passed 71-10.
Well, they say there's some error about that. I did not vote against it. I voted against some of the amendments. Well, some of my more liberal colleagues were also good, and they were defeated. But I didn't vote against the...
out of the Congressional Quarterly, I guess.
Well, you didn't get it out of the Congressional Quarterly. Now, I want to make that clear. You brought it off some typewritten matter that you have.
Well,
not out of the
these are taken from our Congressional Quarterly.
Well, that's a different thing.
I should do.
Well, you carry out your convictions very well, and I have no complaint to make about that. I was not able to enter all of these primaries, and I do not feel that it's incumbent on any candidate to enter the primaries if he feels he has a greater responsibility in Washington. I have an idea, though, that you're not nearly as concerned about the primaries that I didn't enter as you are the one I did enter here in Florida.
Well, of course, when you concentrate on one, that does give me some disadvantage, but I'm doing pretty well here, at least, Senator Russell. During the time you've been in Florida, I've been running in 2 other primaries in Ohio and Maryland. Looks like you could have shared your time between those 3 like I have.
Well, it might look that way, but then you had the advantage of them. You've been to Florida some 2 or 3 times before.
I came down for 2 days, sir.
Well, you've been here before, and I have been here 10 campaigning days in all. And I feel that I was entitled to enter here in Florida if I wished. And I know that you welcome me in here.
Oh, yeah, good idea. I'm for it.
That's what I thought you would be.
I wish you'd been in some of the others, up in the snow hills of New Hampshire, out in the blizzards of
Well, I would have been glad to go up
in
there.
the snow of Maine. And now, one thing...
Did you enter the Maine primary?
I
didn't know they had one in that state.
I'm at the snow
They don't even have a primary in Maine, and so...
But anyway, there are 2 states where neither one of us entered, and where I did nothing and you did nothing. Pennsylvania, neither of us did anything, but I noticed that 86,000 people wrote their names on their ballots for me, and I think you got 1,324. Up in Massachusetts, where they...
Well, you had spoken all over Pennsylvania, and I had never been in there prior to the primary.
Well, you went up there and dedicated a great big something the other day. I saw that.
Primary.
I think I've spoken there once, too, but neither have I spoken. Well, I don't see that you've made any headway in carrying any states yet, Senator.
Well, I had to do the work. I had to haul the water and tote the wood back there in Washington. Because my good friend who's a member of my committee wasn't there. He was off campaigning all over the country, and someone had to do the work. We had to get the bills out of the committee on the floor.
Well, let me just say a little word about that.
And through the Senate.
Let me just say a little word about that. I think you'll agree that since the time I've been on the Armed Services Committee, I've been a pretty faithful member. I've kept up with
Don't embarrass me with that statement, Senator.
Well, I don't want to embarrass you, Senator. I wouldn't do that for anything in the world. But, well, just a minute now. Just a minute. Let me tell you something. But I think that anybody who's going to offer themselves for the presidency of the United States owes a duty to go before the people in all sections of the nation and talk about issues. Because the people have got a right to do the choosing, and I think that they ought to have more of a say-so. I think it's a great educational process. I think it's just as necessary for candidates to get in primaries, to go before the people for selecting their party nominees, as it is that they vote in the general election. We need more democracy. So I wouldn't feel right running for the president unless I took advantage of the various primaries over the nation and entered them, submitted myself either for the yes or no vote one way or the other. That's what I've done because I think that's what I should do.
Well, you